Good afternoon and welcome to coverage of the qualifying final in the Tasmanian State League. It is the Kingborough Tigers taking on North Launceston here this afternoon for a place in the grand final in a fortnight's time. I'm Andrew calling the action here at the Twin Ovals. Really looking forward to this one. The two dominant sides of 2023 set to go head-to-head here this afternoon. A few minutes from getting underway, but really looking forward to seeing what these two sides can bring. They've brought a top level all season long at 3 times. The first, the only of the 3 that was played at this venue, and it was a pretty comfortable win for the Tigers, 95-41. That was all the way back in round 2 though. North Launceston really got rolling as the season wore on. They would win the next time where they met in round 8, 76-72. A thriller of a game there, the Bombers just getting over the line. And in round 19, the recent matchup, which basically determined who would be hosting this match, it was the Tigers who went up to UTAS and walked away 58-53 victors. So 4 points and 5 points in it the last 2 times they've met. Only percentage separating them on the final ladder, percentage indeed that the Northern Bombers almost caught up to the Tigers on in the final quarter of action of the regular season. Nearly stole top spot from them in the final round. But it seemed like the Tigers had locked that away with that win in round 19. But a surprise loss on the final day to Clarence. A pretty flat performance from the Tigers. Almost saw them ceding that advantage right back to the Bombers. We got within about 3 goals in the end against North Hobart. Couldn't quite get the percentage boost thereafter and need to turn it around by 19 percentage points on the final day. Was always going to be a tough ask. They nearly did it. So the stage set for a really good game of football here this afternoon between 2 fantastic sides, 2 premiership fancies all year long really. See the Bombers going through their warm-up there, a side that have bounced back after missing finals in quick time. It's been a lightning fast rebuild. The youth movement hasn't taken long to yield results. The Bombers second on the ladder this year by percentage, and will give the Tigers a test today. Slightly younger lineup. The Tigers perhaps the slightly maturer bodies, but they come onto the field now, the home side, boosted by Kieran Lovell's presence. He's one they've been missing a little lately. I'll be glad to have him there. I'll go through the starting lineups for today. We'll start with the Tigers from the full back line. Godomsky, Donnelly and Clifford. The half back line, Reardon, Bastick and McCulloch. The midfield line, Webb, Clifford, Baker. Half forward, O'Neill, College, Zeitzen. Full forward, Carter, Gardner, Campbell. And Tompkinson, the lead ruck, with Eddie Cole and Kieran Lovell at his feet. The bench is Brereton, Williams, Golding and Brewer. For the Bombers, on the full back line, Fletcher Bennett, Connolly Flang, Declan Chugg. The half back line, Nicholas, Mitchell and Young. The midfield line, Manshandon, Simpson and Simpson. That is Ben and Sam. Half forward line, Jack Avent, Shaka Hearn, Harvey Griffiths. Full forward line, Brad Cox, Goodyear, Theo Ives, Brandon Leary. And then Alex Lee with Sulzberger and Pearce. The followers on the bench, Bales, Mansell, Rickard and Hubbard. So the 2 teams as named, not too far away from getting underway here at the Twin Ovals. We'll be back with you in a moment as we get ready for this big qualifying final. So the players just about in readiness here for this clash this afternoon. The siren sounds out at the Twin Ovals. Qualifying final, not elimination final, I should say. There will be a second chance for the loser, but hosting rights in the grand final on the line here. Will it be another Northern final up at UTAS? Well, the Bombers looking to get that done. The Tigers, who sat on top of the table for much of the year, looking to take care of business here at the Twins and lock in what will be a North Hobart grand final. We'll find out in a couple of hours' time. This should be an absolute beauty. No changes to either side, as named, pretty much at full strength. This should be a cracking account. A bit of wind about it. Hasn't been the nicest day down here in the south. It's been howling with wind throughout much of the morning. It could make conditions a little bit tricky for the players. Shouldn't be too much of a threat of rain about. Reasonably overcast conditions, but should be fairly comfortable from that perspective. But the wind is going to be a large factor, I suspect. Always is at this ground. There's quite often an end that ends up being pretty significantly favoured. A ground you often need to wait till half-time to really judge just how strong it is. But I'd have thought, given conditions around the capital here today, and we caught some of the soccer in this region earlier this morning, where it was really impacting things, that will be a big factor. But we're just about ready to go here. Twin Ovals. Qualifying final, Northern Bombers up against the Kingborough Tigers. The top two battling it out, a spot in the grand final and hosting rights for that grand final on the line. It'll be Tompkinson to meet Lee in the centre square here as we get underway. All the stars starting on the ball. With Lovell, Cole in there, Simpson, Avent, Pearce for the Bombers. There's some big guns at this contest. Who's going to bring the heat early? Finals footy is about to get underway. The umpire holds it aloft, and we are ready to go in the 2023 final series. Lee wins the first hit out. Got it down there to Pearce, but he's going nowhere. Climbed on by a pair of Tigers. They'll go again. As Clifford starts the push and shove. Tompkinson wraps his arms around Lee, spills out to Avent. Avent, the handball almost picked off, but it'll be Harry Bales for the Bombers, who sends one high into the sky. You see the wind take a hold of that, almost juggling it was Elijah Reardon, battling away with the Mansell. Held there, Reardon. As the Tigers try to bust through, Godomski sweeps the handball out wide, back inside to Reardon, around the corner towards Gardner, but Lockie Mitchell just taking the intercept mark, just dropping in that space. There was the Bombers' key defender. Kicks this one, just holds in the wind again, so certainly looks like it's going to be tough sledding to the right of your screen this afternoon. Donnelly, what a season he's had, scrapping away there with Theo Ives, did really well. Got it out to Ben Simpson. He just gets some territory and goes looking for Griffiths. Will elude him and trickle out a play for a ball in. Probably say, based off the opening couple of minutes, that it is Tigers with the advantageous into attack as Tompkinson and Ives battle away. Clifford, it's worked towards the boundary line. And Bastic sees it across. Tompkinson and Lee, what a battle that's going to be this afternoon. He'll scrap with Ives here, but those two big men, such keys for their sides. Lee, the dominant ruck in the competition this season. Tompkinson, one who can go with him. The two number twos battling away. Eddie Cole on the bell, and the pack, Ben Simpson wrapping you up. Expect those two hard nuts to be on the bottom of plenty of packs here this afternoon. There's the Hudson medalist, Bradley Cox-Goodyear, lurking around. The season he had 58 goals as Godomski clears the area with a high kick up towards the wing, spiked away by Lee, trying to charge through there. All the Tigers with James Webb. Lovell lays a tackle, burrow in, quite gives it some time, but it's not coming out of there. Tossed up once more. Tompkinson craftily over the top, but Lee able to gather it. He sends a handball wide, bustling through the returning Nicholas Baker, looking to make his presence felt there early on as Baker. Lee and Lovell back into this side for finals. Tigers fans will be very happy to see that. Back in. Tompkinson takes front position, palms it down, looking for Lovell. Cole laying a tackle. So, the scoreboard comes online here. No scoring done yet. Tight battle developing early on. The last two between these two low scoring. Manshandon fired the handball to Avent. Avent missed his target on the return. Manshandon again doing the defensive work as he locks up O'Neill. Might be tight. Manshandon offers some real pace. Separation. Tompkinson won it down. The kick away. Comes back in Kieran Lovell. He's sent to the deck by Manshandon. Not sure he had the football. And the umpire spots that. It'll be a free kick going the way of the Tigers to Kieran Lovell. Just on baller. Nice ball there to Marcus Gardner leading up at the football. The Tigers can go forward here for the first time in Yanga this afternoon. They'll drive it into the 450 arc, looking for Carter, off hands of Bennett. And a scribble across the line by Mitchell. So Young clears defensive 50 up towards the two rucks, over their head, out the back to Avent. Avent has a bounce, lost control of the foot. He had time to go back and gather though. Still going Avent, charging up the wing, and slices off a nice kick in the direction of Ives. Ives to Cox Goodyear, just looks to finesse one into the pocket. Not a great ball. Elijah Reardon there for the Tigers back the other way. He kept it low, missed his target. Cox Goodyear was there. Tompkinson over the top. Cox Goodyear crashing in. The umpire calls for it. So conditions might make it a difficult day for ball use. Miss kicks there as Lee wins this one over the top to Simpson. But hold of his arm, Eddie Cole. Showing he goes nowhere. Tossed up Lee. Dumps it forward, Webb over the top of it. Lovell gets a kick out of there. It's going to come right back at them though. Spears it to half forward, found a marking target there in Sam Simpson. He's got a few options here. One of them short was Cox Goodyear. Pierce missed the kick horribly though. Clifford now. Clifford sends it wide. The leaving mark taken by Nicholas Baker at half back. So he looks up the line. Just a bit too much on it, but it'll work out all right for the Tigers. They're swooping. They work it back inside towards Webb. Umpire just getting in the way a little there. Works for the Bombers. Avent the other way for the Bombers. Sweeps it to Ben Simpson. Simpson chipping forward, looking for Pierce. Just missed him with the kick though. Almost let him Brewer, but Pierce went back. His kick then charged down. Handball to Clifford. Spears back inside onto the right. Ugly looking kick, but makes its way to Gardner. Was good below his knees. Now they'll go inside the forward 50. Kick just eluding Campbell. Gathered there by Chug. Campbell burrowing through, taken high. And a free kick will go the way of Soupy Campbell. Mitchell just slipping up a little there. Campbell go back and try and kick his sides first of the afternoon. So Soupy Campbell won't be an easy kick from here. He'll take his best from the angle. He kicks from about 40 out. Just sends it across the face, 4 over behind. So 2 behinds to the Tigers. Let's get to score here for the qualifying final. 2 overs. This one's driven outside 50. Campbell lays a good tackle there. Support game from Brewer. Josh Rickard going nowhere. Gardner to do the ruck work on this occasion. Lee for the Bombers. comes in, wins it down. Haven't been busy early, flicked it out to Sulzberger. Shanks one into the corridor. Harvey Griffiths had it punched away from him. Flicked back towards Griffiths as Golding grabs it. In turn, or Brereton in turn is held up by Harvey Griffiths. Had a good year, the Bombers fought, in a likely target inside 50 for them. Got some real weapons down there. Lee won it, didn't really clear the area. Van Shandon hands the football. Lee now laying a tackle. Williams, umpire spotted a free kick. It will go the way of Van Shandon, who wastes no time. Sends it to the wing. Back to Young. Young driving up towards the half-forward line. Was dropped. Almost let him Williams. Sulzberger battled on well. Then he lost it again. Bastic takes it away. Umpire has blown his whistle. Holding the footy against Sulzberger. But should allow them to get set up defensive side of the footy here. See how tough it's been for the Bombers to try and progress the football forward here. Into the wind. Cole heads wide. Yadomski. It's a nice ball for O'Neill. Oh, it's up to Soda. That was out of play. It'll be tossed in. Finals nerves about perhaps early on. Toss back into play on true centre wing. Just the two behinds in the opening 10 minutes here at the Twin Ovals. Umpire's whistle once again. This time Alex Lee the beneficiary. Tomkinson just slipping up a little high in the umpire's estimation. Lee wanted the handball, wasn't on, so wobbles one up towards half-forward line. Bastic with hands to it. Now Cox Goodyear on the non-preferred right. Just works it back centrally. Elijah Reardon with one hand reeled it in. Played on, got into a little bit of trouble. They'll escape though. His kick is worked up towards Zeitzen. Got his defender underneath the footy, then just slapped it back into the corridor. There were only Bombers there though. They recover the situation. Retreat back to Nicholas. Nicholas to Mansell. Mansell chips one, and he finds a marking target in Sulzberger. Sulzberger on the left. Sits it high into the forward line. It's a good mark from Theo Ives. Good pack mark. They'll be worth their weight in gold today, those type of clunks. Plenty of Tigers defenders back, but Ives, in the midst of the pack, extends those long arms of his. Go back. Bombers' first scoring chance of the day, and we finally get a good idea of just how tough goal kicking is going to be at this end of the ground here. We'll see how Theo Ives manages. Kicking from about 40, sends it on its way. Never looked likely. They're on the board with a minor score only. It's 2 plays 1. Though, you fancy the Tigers have got more advantageous end. Could be a 10-metre type wind on some kicks here today. So, the Bombers will be reasonably happy with the start they made. That looked a little high. It will be a free kick to Cox Goodyear. The Hudson medalist. In the season, he had 53 goals, 34. This one, the pocket, but off the ball. So Tomkinson has got into Cox Goodyear. He's been sucked in, and it's going to be a downfield free kick and give Theo Ives a chance. Well, it's so hard to move the ball. Gifting team 50 metres in that type of situation. It's a big blow. Theo Ives, and he punished them. Kick from close range on the angle. Goes on the left. Ends it near side, and that's where it stayed. So 2 plays 2 after 13 minutes here at the Twin Ovals. Elijah Reardon on kick-out duties, and wastes no time, goes right down the middle. It was a poor kick though, only Declan Chugg there, couldn't take it cleanly. Clifford and Zeitzen in there now. They hold Chugg up, who desperately wants to keep this ball in. Just kind of had to feign he was making an effort. Did not want to release that one, Chad. It's a stoppage. Tompkinson against Lee. Lee won it to Tompkinson. Tompkinson now around the corner towards the half-forward line. Trapping with his legs, Mitchell, then gathered it. Flung a handball over the top straight to Clifford. Clifford missed his man Tompkinson a metre away. Tompkinson trying to shrug off Ben Simpson, draws a little high contact. And then dishes the handball around the back. They send it wide for Zeitzen. Zeitzen drifting in the Carter direction, just drifted away from him though. Out of play for a ball in. So here's you get a little more yardage on your kicks to this end the Tigers are attacking, but accuracy no easier. These windy conditions making life very difficult for the two teams. It's been a scrappy opening quarter of an hour, no goals to show for it yet. Tigers on the attack inside 50. Ives up against Carter. Carter out of the ruck, snaps it around the corner, he's offline. And behind only for Tyler Carter. So he's back in front by that solitary point. So Bales from fullback. Able to bite off an extra 10 metres and then sends the kick up towards Tompkinson. Just gets the better of Ives. Tompkinson looking centrally. Drifts in. I'm not sure that Jake Williams was his intended target, but landed right on his lap. He'll take it. And Williams will go back from about 45 out. Gonna need to start this one at the behind post, really. See flags and trees in the background. Sheer impact the wind is having. How will Jake Williams go with this kick? Can he get the first goal of the afternoon? Cannot. It's behind post for no score. So Mitchell, the last line of defence. Plays on. His defensive 50 to a pack. No one can take it cleanly. Ives shuffles it out the back. Nicholas hits solidly by Reardon, who takes it out of play. Tompkinson and Ives. Tompkinson just getting in the back of Ives there. Wasn't subtle. Umpire throwing the free kick to the Bombers ruckman. Plays on, runs straight at Tompkinson. Gives him a bit of a whack as it spills the way of Bales. His kick back inside centrally, spinning away Clifford. Pose, played the 1-2 there with McCulloch. Still going Clifford. String possessions but going nowhere. Fantastic, and now spinning away with it is McCulloch. Oh, dicey kick, invited danger. It's been picked off by Simpson, who charges in to an open goal that kicks the first of the afternoon. Just a little too cute there from the Tigers, trying to execute the switch in these blustery conditions. Simpson seized on the opportunity, intercepts, and scores the first goal of the qualifying final. Launceston by 5, and goals to that end of the ground are going to be worth their weight in gold this afternoon. The goal, you can get to that end, might well be worth double at least. So the Bombers will certainly be the happier of the two, the way they've started. Home side needing to respond here. Smash forward. Bounced up though for Sulzberger. Sulzberger retreating, went back to Hubbard. Hubbard fires it across and used Nicholas. And they'll chip it wide, dropping one he should have had there, Sulzberger. And yeah, Campbell works him off the kick. Goes back and lays a good tackle though, Sulzberger. The defensive work. His initial error there. Redemption is tossed up once more. Tompkinson wrestling there with Ives. Eddie Cole flicked it up. Golding umpire says that's in the back. Free kick going the way of the Tigers. So Cole looks a little disjointed going forward thus far. Just skips around Simpson on the mark and then sends it high up towards the half-forward line. Sightson, good attack, had a lot of it, didn't complete the mark. Bales now claimed by Golding. He worked it forwards. And that's going nowhere. Sightson, defensive work, but to get something going inside forward 50 here, the Tigers work boundary side. Pearce has a hold of Webb. Just escorts him out of play. Tossed back in, Gardner against Ives this time. Handball out towards Pearce. He's charged down by Campbell, gets a hand there. Spoils it out of play. So we tick towards red time in quarter number one. Just the one goal to show for it. Going the way of Sam Simpson.
Where have you been?
Gardner, Ives took front position, won it down to Manchandon. Manchandon to Sulzberger, Cole pressuring him, got his kick away in time. Standing under it was Rickard, took a good mark, just had to brace for contact. Did it well, handball across to Harry Bales. Bales driving it deep inside the forward 50. Lee down there, Donnelly did well in the contest, and he was infringed by Lee. Free kick will go to the competition's premier fullback in Ben Donnelly. He was enormous the last time these two met. Huge reason why they're hosting this afternoon. This one spills to the outside. Baker driving it down towards Carter. He was caught too deep, slapped away by Chubb. 8 plays 3. The opening over here at the Twins.
Put that down.
Mission's not easy for either side, though the Tigers probably the better end to attack. Won't know truly till half-time. Here's Pearce, got a kick away. Umpire's whistle had gone. It would go the way of the Bombers, however. And Shandon held on to by Webb. So Manchandon, a little hesitant, eventually stops to send it down the line. Reardon with a fly, but plucking it from behind was Simpson. Wasn't put off and down the mark just inside the boundary. Plays on now, just chips it low to Sulzberger. Sulzberger, he too opting to keep it low, but it was almost broken up. Handball back inside. Williams scrapping away in there, Brewer there too. Tossed up. Gardner against Ives. Ives started this game nicely. Got the clearance there, Theo Ives. Sent it to Cox Goodyear. Wants to wheel onto the trusty left. He was run down. Super tackle. An advantage played. The Tigers looked to bounce off with some speed. They charged forward, but taking the relieving mark, Fletcher Bennett. That's going a little too quickly. Oh, a little too sharp with the handball for Young. They cough it up here. Carter comes in. Applies some pressure to Bales and they'll force a stoppage. So, here's a scrappy game this afternoon. The previous match wasn't the highest scoring, but it was still engrossing. A similar battle developing here. Umpire spotted something. Free kick and an advantage paid. And seized by Eddie Cole. Drives them forward and Tompkinson takes the mark. This will test him though with the wind as it is. Jack Tompkinson opts just to stand it up for Zeitzen instead with a one-on-one with Leaflang. Zeitzen just outpointing Leaflang and has a chance to kick the Tigers first of the afternoon. They need this. It would be a steadier in the 24th minute of action. They've not really created a whole lot. Tompkinson with a good mark and a good set-up kick. Just put it deep. Torres forward to take in the back position. Put it over the head of Leaflang to his advantage. Now James Zeitzen needs to do the job here and put his side ahead as we tick towards quarter time. He's had a fantastic season, James Zeitzen. He sends this one straight through the middle. The Tigers get their first of the afternoon and they reclaim the lead by a point. It's 1-3, plays 1-2. Zeitzen responding to Simpson. It remains tight here at the Twin Ovals. Day where the wind is making life very difficult for the players. I do think the Tigers have the easier end to attack though. So 9 plays 8. Neil arm wrestle developing. Red time here. These finals are so often won and lost. Gardner went a little early, allowed Lee to win it down. Simpson shuffles it out back towards Lee. Lee trying to find man Shandon, but in the way there was Brewer. Crashing through was Williams. That was sharp from Williams. He goes looking for Zeitzen again. He takes the mark, head of Lee flank. And then he darts one inside the 50. Bales intercepting. Great delivery there. Bales did well, but his kick just holds up in the wind and allows Joey Brewer to intercept. He'll pump it right back in there. Goes looking for Carter. And Tyler Carter brings it in. And the Tigers having their best spell of the afternoon here. Late in quarter number 1, just starting to come to life a little. And Tyler Carter will look to extend the lead as we tick towards quarter time. Some real weapons down here. Look at the Tigers. He wheels inside to open it up the angle a little and bends it back on the breeze beautifully. Tyler Carter has the Tigers second, 2-3-15. They lead the Bombers 1-2-8. Carter joining Zeitzen on the board after they struggled to get much going for the opening 20 minutes or so. Just starting to give their forwards a few looks here are the Tigers. Carter, Zeitzen, College, Tompkinson, Gardner when he's down there. They've got some real weapons in the air in particular. Cause the Bombers' defence some problems. So a 7-point lead. Gardner and Lee resume their duel. Lee won that one down decisively to Golding though. He was immediately dispossessed. Gardner scooped it up there to Webb. Webb turns sharply and he'll drive the Tigers forward once more. Low grubber of a kick. Carter couldn't take it cleanly. Young gathers. They're happy to take a stoppage here. Nicholas waits for the whistle. It eventually comes. Might be the longest of quarters, I wouldn't have thought. Still time enough perhaps. Another one here though. As Tompkinson does well there. Burrowing into him. As Jackie Avent. So tossed up once more. Ruck's too busy wrestling. Got to wrestle their way past the football in the end. How's the umpire see that? He says it was Tompkinson blocking Lee. Free kick to Alex Lee. Lee content to take his time here. And there is the siren for quarter time. It's the Tigers by 7 after 1. A bit of a slow start. First goal of the game went to Sam Simpson. It's 2-3 to 1-2. Though, given how tough it was for the Bombers to move the ball to that end of the ground, perhaps not a bad result for the visitors. We'll have to wait till half-time to really tell either way. I suspect they won't be too disappointed with that start. 7 points the margin on a windy day here at the Twin Ovals. Qualifying final of the Tasmanian Statewide League. I'll be back shortly with quarter number 2 for you. But it is the home side narrowly in the ascendancy after 1 here at the Twin Ovals. So welcome back for quarter number 2 at the Twin Ovals. Tasmanian Statewide League Qualifying Final. Kingborough Tigers holding sway by 7 points at quarter time over the Northern Bombers. And as per usual here at the Twins, this is a ground you don't judge till we've seen both teams attacking the same end, because wind's so often a factor, and we've seen it really impacting ball movement in quarter number 1. Bombers might fancy themselves to get back on top of this one in quarter number 2, attacking the nominally easier end. The other scores around the TSL, 25-0 in favour of Clarence at quarter time. Battle of third v fourth. Whilst the winners go on to host the grand final, the losers of this one will play the winner of that game next week. So Clarence off to a sharp start in that one against Launceston Blues. But to the battle here, and it's the Tigers who got a couple of goals in red time just to take a 7-point lead here into the second term. I reckon the Bombers did all right into that wind in quarter number 1. Let's see how things play out in the second term. We're underway. Tompkinson up against Lee. Tompkinson leapt a little early, allowed Lee to get the clearance, sends it up towards Cox Goodyear. Fell to Harvey. Griffiths gets boot to ball. Griffiths couldn't direct it, and it floats out of bounds on the full. 30 goals this season for Griffiths. He's been a real live wire. So Leary drives down there. Some more weapons to support Cox Goodyear. Tompkinson almost taking a great mark. And through the hands of McCulloch about a play. Lee paddling there. The umpire spotted a hold. Go the way of the Tigers. No, we go the way of Alex Lee. Tompkinson penalised there, so Lee can thump the Bombers inside the forward 50 here. Sends it high into the forward 50. Griffiths couldn't quite bring it down. Baker burrowing after it. Leary couldn't quite take clean possession. Kick around the corner is straight down the throat of Murray Bastick. Bastick got it moving quickly. Tompkinson just had the size advantage on Manshandon. Takes the relieving mark. We saw the Bombers, who are quite happy to take speed out of the game in quarter number 1, as that one is picked off by Cox Goodyear, who's just going to thump it from 60. It's drifting almost the whole way. Donnelly gets a hand to it on the line. Well, definitely the easier end to attack. They wouldn't have even tried that in quarter number 1. That's going to be 50. Tompkinson just sucking in Rick out, or perhaps it was Reardon rather drifting past. Tompkinson charging forwards, wondering where the mark is. There's nobody on the mark at the moment. He's just wondering where exactly he's been marched to. Eventually dishes the handball to Cole and missed his man from 2 metres away. Cole recovers it, sends it wide, looking for Brewer, but they've turned it over to Jack Avent. Scrappy stuff from the Tigers there, under no pressure. Avent round the corner, ball tumbling past Ives. He now gets the better of Donnelly. Handball to Leary, gets past Clifford. Leary couldn't bring it under his spell. Donnelly pressuring. Ives back in there. They climb on top of him and the umpire calls for it. Tompkinson plants, wins it down. Simpson got there, handball over the top. Another free kick, and again going, I was going to say the way of Lee. This one will go to Simpson, but it's a few holds they've been called for here, the Tigers. The Bombers take advantage. That's a nice looking kick for Cox Goodyear. Couldn't quite complete the mark. Clifford trying to bounce away through traffic to Godomski. Godomski arches the back by hand. They keep advancing it forward, and then Clifford just hacks it off the deck. It worked out all right. Golding ran onto it. Was he held without it? I think he was. He'll get the free kick here, Golding. And he wastes no time. Sends it inside the forward 50. Off hands in towards the pocket. Zeitzen turning back towards goal for his second. Zeitzen couldn't work it back. And offline for a minor score. So 2-4 plays 1-3. The game opening up a little in the early moments here compared with the first term. Avent stood underneath that as stretching for it. Tompkinson couldn't quite spoil it away. They move it to man Shandon. He'll get it moving quickly down the line to Hubbard in space. Hubbard has some time to pick a kick, and he finds a target in Sulzberger. Sulzberger now into the pocket. Cox Goodyear took it on the bounce. Now the pressure comes from Clifford. Oh, he slipped up high, says the umpire. And Cox Goodyear will have a shot from the pocket. Non-preferred side for the left footer, but man who kicked 53 goals this season, certainly more than capable. So Bradley Cox Goodyear try and cut the margin back to a solitary point. Oh, it's a beautiful kick from the Hudson medalist. He gets his first of the afternoon, and they cut the margin back to a point. Like shelling peas for Bradley Cox Goodyear. Tough angle. He just slots it through with the drop punt to absolute perfection. They're back within a point. And the Tigers' 7-point lead they took in a quarter time did feel a little light. The wind has dropped off slightly. You can probably tell a little from the trees in the background, but certainly still prominent and favouring the end the Bombers are attacking. It's going to be tough for the Tigers here in the second term. They only got a 1-point lead. So tossed it back up. Tompkinson against Lee. Tompkinson will do it himself. Tries to burst away. Had to give it back to Cole. Cole round the corner up towards half forward. Spilt there for Williams. Williams balked and then sends it inside the forward 50. Bennett defending Carter. Carter goes back in. Bales will get it out of there. Just slaps it on the boot and clears defensive 50. Tompkinson drifts in from the side. He takes it. Despite late spoil attempt from Sulzberger. Jack Tompkinson. He find a marking target inside 50. He's just going to stand it up for the big man. Oh, off the chest of Tyler Carter. Maybe should have had it O'Neill now. He's captured and then diving on top of him, Chug. Umpire will toss it up. Gardner and Lee. Gardner slapped it down. Bennett out to Young. Young is defensive 50. The umpire's whistle had gone and a throw has been paid against Ben Simpson. So an opportunity for James Webb. So a chance perhaps for a little freebie here for the Tigers. The scoop from Simpson penalised. Can Webb take advantage? Kicks from about 40 out and just hangs it near side. So let off there for the Bombers. 2-5 plays, 2-3. Young. Take it to the outer wing. Bit of journey out the back, juggling the mark, Oscar Mansell. See anything to his immediate liking, so just hesitates a little and then will kick up towards the pack at half forward. Gudomski. Whistle's gone. Gudomski is going to be paid it. Played on into a little bit of trouble, straightens up, sends it down the line. Gardner caught a couple deep, spiked away by Lee into the hands of Cole. Cole quite content to keep that one locked in. As Ives and Tompkinson exchange pleasantries. Tompkinson and Lee, Tompkinson bodying up, goes in, kicked away from him. The deck, Cole burrowing in after it. Sparks fly here at the Twin Ovals. Qualifying final in the TSL. 4 points and 5 points the margin in these last two head-to-heads. They're two tightly matched teams, and so it's proving today. Repeat stoppages here at half forward for the Tigers. And Simpson had a fine year in midfield for the Bombers as this one's worked boundary side. It's just going to lead to another stoppage. Rinse and repeat here. Shallow throw. Tompkinson just lost his footing trying to get the hit out. Umpire's whistle goes again. I think it's going to be a recall of the throw. The wind making life tough for the boundary umpires as well as players here this afternoon. Lee against Gardner this time. Gardner won it down, but straight to Theo Ives. He's sent crashing to the deck by Eddie Cole. Hot in the kitchen. Lee trying to box Gardner out. Gardner flicked it boundary side. Avent first to it, but again running out of real estate. Again it'll be thrown in. The ball just glued to this section of the ground at the moment. Anyone get a decisive clearance here? Again, the Rucks just whack it back to the boundary. In a real holding pattern this game because the Rucks just keep knocking it straight back from whence it came. No one wanting to take a risk and flick something back into the corridor. So they'll go again, Lee and Gardner. Ives. Well, lets it go. And then the Bombers take it away. They tried to, diving on top of it, Baker. And getting a high one. Contact below the knees, in fact. This will be against Baker for going to the shins there of Sulzberger. Don't see that decision paid too often. Certainly surprised Nicholas Baker as Sulzberger sends this one in the Cox Goodyear direction. Donnelly drifting in front, then dropped one off his chest. Plenty of numbers at the fall for the Tigers though. Webb down the line towards Carter. Bennett flew from behind. Mitchell bumps in to Baker. Another throw in at this section on the ground. And the ball has been living for the past few minutes. 17 plays 15. The wind blowing to that side of the ground. He's sucking the ball in. Gardner looked underneath it by Lee. Pierce with a firm tackle. Webb unable to escape. Gardner slaps it back towards the boundary side. Clifford to Baker, tries to shrug the tackler. Pearson does so. He works his kick towards half forward. Through the hands there of College. And Bennett's kick charged down. Toss it in once more. Hard work to gain 15 metres there for the Tigers. Ball continues to live in this part of the ground. Ives opposed to Gardner this time. Gardner the double palm. Ives slapped it away. Handball back into dispute. Williams diving after it. Lee Flang clears the area with a tumbling kick up towards the wing. Bastic fists it towards the line, but Leary got there first. Tries to shrug. The tackle of Clifford. He got him cold. Will Clifford. Brandon Leary hasn't had much service to work with this afternoon. It's been a tough day for forwards like Leary and just trying to make something happen, but Clifford stuck to the task diligently and wins the free kick. He sends it down the line to a pack. Oh, almost the mark. Carter. Yeah, it will be paid. Had plenty of it, Tyler Carter. Now they can advance the ball inside the forward 50. Sets it high to a pack. Tompkinson couldn't complete the mark. Went back in, gathered it, then immediately was claimed by a couple of Bombers defenders. Lockie Mitchell on top of him. Ives. Cole. Sharked it. Tumbles it inside the forward 50. Lee Flang looking to defend. Oh, Bennett came flying through the pack. There's Want a free kick. Holding the footy against Williams. Nothing doing. Tigers having a period in the ascendancy here, but it's been such hard work to get it inside forward 50. Umpire spots another free kick out of the ruck. This time it's going the way of the Tigers. So Tompkinson, who's given a few away already, will receive this one against Ives, but into the wind, and this is right into the teeth of that wind too. This will take a mighty kick from Jack Tompkinson. Can he deliver it, or will he maybe just look to stand it up instead? He does indeed go the ladder to the top of the goal square, but drifting in Harry Bales. Not in front of everyone, took the intercept. So Tompkinson opting for the team first. Set up there, but really able to compete in the air. Tompkinson, it was Baker, spilt out for Leary. Checks back into the corridor, looking for Sulzberger. Had to be good to beat Cole, and was. Handball puts Simpson under some pressure. The fend off and the kick was immaculate. Found a target at half forward, and now Alex Lee with 2 to beat. Clifford with some support for Donnelly. Did really well there, Will Clifford, and then follows up, applies some more pressure. He's having a good quarter. He's Clifford. 2 points his side, lead by. Smack towards the line. Umpire will toss it in again, earning his paycheck. Yeah, far side boundary line umpire here this afternoon. So Ives and Gardner. Gardner won it down, but man, Shandon first to it. Leary starting to get involved a little. Cole claimed by Bales, somehow escaped. Got the handball to Clifford. He works a kick towards half forward, but dropping back into space was Connor Lee Flang. Lee Flang. Short to Simpson. Simpson has Bales centrally. That's where he heads. Chipping it around here. He's off. Told to go by the umpire. Cox Goodyear caught deep, and it's punched over the line for another ball in. Really all living between the 50-metre arcs on that far wing for much of this quarter. Those Optus signs in the background showing you quite clearly why. Wind howling across that side. It's favouring the Bombers' end slightly, but just so tough for all players out there today. Ives front position, won it down. Trying to bust through there, Williams. Got it to Webb. He was pressured by Simpson, impacted the kick. Takes it out of bounds on the full. Lee Flat taking over. Short for Manchandon. Thought about squaring up, didn't have an option though, so he just goes down the line instead. Cox Goodyear just outpointing Godomski, and he might fancy himself the Hudson medalist. He'll be able to wheel inside, open up the angle. You can see Webb's there to try and charge that down. Leary lending some support to come in and provide the block. Cox Goodyear. Does he have the journey? He works inside. He sends it on its way. It's bending back. It's straight through the middle again from BCG. He's got 2 for the quarter. The Bombers have the lead. They're 3-3-21. The Tigers 2-5-17. And that man, Bradley Cox Goodyear, looming large. He's got 2 goals in this quarter. Both of them have been pretty tough kicks. One from the pocket, tight angle effort. That one a bit further out. He just bent it back beautifully on the wind. Puts the Bombers ahead. So 21 plays 17. It's the Bombers by 4. Real arm wrestle of a contest here. In the elimination final over at Launceston Arena, it is Clarence holding sway 32-6. As play resumes here, Tompkinson up against Sulzberger there, blocking him off. Tompkinson just barging through, works it forward. spoiled away out towards Hubbard. Didn't bounce accommodatingly for him. They all crash in once more. Leaflang on top. Zeitzen there. Umpire says, I'll have it. Tossed up. Lee, craftily, won it down to Leary, who's moved on the ball and starting to get a little bit more involved here. His kick went straight to Bastick, though. Bastick pumps it back inside. Spoiled back into a dangerous area. Couple of Tigers lurking. Carter looks to get to it first. Under pressure, Leaflang doing some good defensive work. Was that high on Carter? The crowd thought so. Umpire not having it. Says, I'll toss it up. 4-point ball game as we tick towards red time in quarter number 2. It's been a real arm wrestle once more between these two. Gardner, Lee left it behind. Gardner then had it ripped out of his hands. He's going to be penalised for a throw there, I reckon, Gardner. Alex Lee will take the free, and he takes it quickly. Slides it across to Sulzberger, just put him under a little bit of pressure. Down the line he goes off. Hands of Clifford now to play for a ball in. Back into play, Tompkinson gets the clearance. Looked it around the corner, it was ill-directed. Stays in play, Young attacking the ball, then he's claimed in a fierce tackle. That's going to be rewarded, holding the footy. George O'Neill, Young just ran straight into a brick wall in the form of O'Neill, and he is rewarded. The Tigers looking to recapture the lead late in the second term. He sends them forward once more. Almost Zeitzen, not quite. Fletcher Bennett on the bottom of the pack. Did well in the contest. In general play, the Tigers have been better in the second quarter than they were the first. It's just that they're attacking the tougher end in this term. The Bombers attacking normally easier end. It's not that any end's easy today, as this one's worked up towards the line, towards Ahern. Tompkinson has a hold of him. Tumbles out. Play on the call. Golding's kick charge down. Slapped on the boot and up towards the next contest. Clifford backing back, almost completed the mark. Lee now pressuring him. Might have just got in the back there, Lee. Free kick will go the way of the Tigers. Clifford, been one of their best this quarter. Will Clifford, he stood up in some big moments, won some key contests for them. He'll have to move this one down the line again here, and again it's an ugly looking kick into the wind. Bounced fortuitously, sent forward, ill-directed. College can't do much with that, out of bounds on the full. Fletcher Bennett, what a fine season he's had in defence for the Northern Bombers. He's emerging young stars, Lockie Mitchell. It's been incredibly fast rebuild job from them. 1 year missing finals, and back in. Tompkinson penalised for in the back, and he is filthy on that, the big fella. Thought he'd added to his TSL leading contested marks. He led the league in that department this year, but only a free kick against this time. And Ives floating it there. Donnelly juggles the mark just inside the field of play. He's kicked straight to the man on the mark. This invites some danger. Ball in dispute. Leary swoops onto it. Stops, props, handballs back inside. Having to sit under it. Mansell got bumped off it. Manshandon trying to control it. Reardon back the other way. Some support now going from McCulloch, and then Webb able to just blast it on out of there. Chug extends an arm. Gardner brings him down. Got the handball away to Young in time. And then he just pumps them forward. But he's kicked straight to Ben Donnelly. Bombers haven't really had a threatening inside 50 for 10 minutes or so here. The Tigers on top, but just finding it tough to create an opening once they get down towards the 50. The Bombers holding sway by 4 points. Some sharp shooting from Bradley Cox-Goodyear, the difference between the teams at the moment. Good ball for Sam Simpson. He kicked the first goal of the afternoon in quarter number 1. He just guides this one across. Didn't do Ricard any favours. He went back and got it, then just lost his footing, had to handball it back to Bennett. Bennett now under pressure from Bastick, and they turn it over. Tyler Carter. Carter sells a little candy, flicks it up to Tompkinson, back to Tyler Carter. Carter, oh, he's selling candy everywhere. The candy man, Tyler Carter. His kick wasn't much good. They keep a hold of the football though. Clifford now into the pocket. Can he find a target? He can, but O'Neill dropped it. Has to go back now, weaving one way, then the other, then his kick's charged down, and it's out of play. Frenetic passage of play. Tyler Carter, doing his best Willy Wonka impersonation over here, was selling candy one way then the other. Dexterous stuff from the big fella. But again, actually getting a scoring chance out of the play now this end of the ground has proved very tough for them. Ball towards O'Neill, he's climbed on top of. So 3-3 plays 2-5. The Northern Bombers lead by 4. Slap back towards the boundary. And we've had an enormous amount of throw-ins here in this second quarter in particular. It was lived on this side of the ground near the boundary line. Gripping qualifying final, this one. Home grand final on the line. Schreiner shrugged the tackle, couldn't do so, was brilliantly claimed there. And now Lee Flang, his handball, a little too much pepper on it, allowed Campbell to interject. He tries to find Clifford, arches the back, kept it in play. Clifford round the corner, deflects almost into the path of Webb. Campbell burrowing after it. Can anyone take clean possession? No. Umpire again will have it as we creep towards the halftime break. Bombers by 4, but the Tigers for the last 15 minutes have done really all the attacking. Not a whole lot to show for it. Get inside 30s, it's the metric at that end of the ground, more than inside 50s. You're 50 from home and you're still not a massive threat up that end of the ground. And the Bombers in general play have struggled to advance the ball beyond kind of here, despite having the wind advantage. But they put together a pretty strong quarter number one. To stick within 7 points, a pretty good effort quarter time. Dispossessed was Avent. Williams scrapping with man Shandon, climbing on top Pearce. So he tossed up right on the line. Probably lead to another ball in. Tossed up once more, the Rucks. Slap back inside to Clifford. Clifford to Campbell. Campbell advances it towards the half-forward line. Took a nice bounce there for College. He just kept moving it forwards. Tumbled it into the pocket. First to it was Young, though. Carter lurking. Mitchell picks it up and slaps it out of there. Anywhere but here will do. It's going to come back at them, though, as it drifted out of bounds. The Tigers get a scoring look from all this play. They'll go inside 50 once again through O'Neill. Drives it in the Tompkinson direction. Bravely just plugging the hole was Fletcher Bennett. Just stood in front of the big fella knowing he was bearing down. Took the contact, got the free kick. Courageous stuff from Fletcher Bennett. In the hole behind Jack Tompkinson. Not the nicest position to be on a football field. Avent claimed by 2. Umpire to toss it up again, and there is the siren. So half-time here at the Twin Ovals. It has been an absolute arm wrestle through the opening half. 2-5 plays 3-3 at half-time. Just the one goal in that quarter. Sorry, there were 2 goals in that quarter. Both came from Bradley Cox Goodyear. One from the angle in the pocket, the other from the paint of 50. Those 2 moments of pure class. Why his side lead by 4 points here at half-time, but it's all still to play for. It's been a day where scoring has been very tough. Getting the ball inside 50 proved tough in that quarter. Ball living on the wings. It is all set up for a tight second half in this qualifying final, though. There's been very little between them the past 2 times they've met. That's continued on this afternoon. I think it's going to continue into the second half, so do stick around. We've got a potential grandstand finish coming up later on. 4 points to the margin. Very little between these two teams at half-time. It's the Bombers, though, holding sway. 3-3-21 to the Tigers. 2-5-17. We'll be back with the second half for you in about a quarter of an hour here. Qualifying final in the TSL. So not far away from a start here in the second half of the qualifying final between the Kingborough Tigers and North Launceston Bombers. 4 points the margin at the half, 2-5 the Tigers, 3-3 North Launceston. Bradley Cox Goodyear ultimately looming as the game breaker at the moment on a day where everybody's found kicking very difficult. And conditions have made things pretty tough there for the players in that department. He has scored 2 pretty low probability goals comparatively with everyone else. He fired one in from the pocket, another one from the arc of 50. Took his opportunities, and that's why his side have a 4-point lead at the main change. It's been a day where scoring chances have been an absolute premium. Tigers really had the better of much of the second quarter, but could scarcely get a scoring opportunity out of it. All the play they had, they were doing well in the contested midfield department. They just couldn't get a scoring chance. It's just been that sort of a day. The wind's been pushing most of the game to the far wing there. There were a lot of ball-ins in quarter number 2. It's been scrappy. It's been physical. It's been an absolute arm wrestle. And I fully expect that to continue into the second half. So often finals do go that way, into these defensive type grinds. Who can go harder for longer? Often the team that emerges with the win. I think it's going to break open into a high scoring spectacle in the second half. Would expect more of this to come. And the third and fourth quarters to play out in a pretty similar fashion to the first half. You'd fancy that Tigers probably got the easier end to attack in the third quarter, and will probably want to take a couple of goal lead into the final quarter to really feel comfortable. Whilst it's tough goal kicking anywhere on the ground, it does seem to be particularly tough up that far end. So Tigers attacking the near end of your screen here in quarter number 3. We want to get a move along, kick a few goals in this term. If the Bombers are anywhere within a couple of goals again, heading into the last, they'll fancy themselves. But there's been very little between them this season. Only a few percentage points separated them at the end of the regular season. 5 points and 4 points were the margins in their 2 most recent meetings. They split them 1 apiece. Tigers did have a big win earlier in the year at the Twin Ovals, but any water has gone under the bridge since then. And these two have looked as evenly matched this afternoon as they have for much of this 2023 campaign. So, ready to go now. Looks like Elijah Reardon's been moved onto the ball for the Tigers. So there's one change there, trying to get him involved. We saw Brandon Leary get moved around the ball a little for the Bombers late there in the second term, as teams try and get some of their star players a little more involved, because deep forwards and defenders been a little isolated today. Hasn't been a lot of service, particularly for the forwards. Hasn't been getting in deep. So all in readiness here. All the players ready to go. The umpire holds it aloft, and we're underway in the second half of the 2023 qualifying final. It's the Bombers by 4 as we begin. Tompkinson wins it down. Clifford immediately claimed. The big news coming out of half-time, I've just been told, is Kieran Lovell, out injured, will not return for the Tigers. He's been on an injury cloud in recent weeks. He will play no further part in the contest as Jack Avent looks to spin through. Worked it back to Ben Simpson. Simpson sets it up towards the forward 50. Off the hands of Bastic, swooping on it, Harvey Griffiths, worked it to Man Shannon, bit of a fumble, got it back to Griffiths, steadies, shoots off hands into the path of Donnelly, and they'll clear the area, although not convincingly, made Baker work for it. He tumbles it ahead of himself, trying to keep it in Baker, eventually worked it to Cole. Cole flicked it back inside, arching the back wheel Clifford, gets his kick away, ill-directed, just bounced away from Simpson in support Bales. Bales wide for Avent. Avent escorted across the line, Eddie Cole. And then continues on with a bit of afters. That he might get a little trouble for umpires. I think are just going to toss this back in. So best way to break this up is to get the game moving. So continuing to kick off there. Zeitzen involved. Tompkinson just plucks it out of the ruck, sent the handball towards Zeitzen, couldn't quite bring it under his spell. And he's dealt with there as they square up. Carter Chug now copping it. It is kicking off here at the Twins. It's finals football, all right. Bale was scrapping away with Carter. Of course, with the winner going straight through to a grand final. 1 week suspensions could rob you of a grand final appearance. So nothing silly, I'm sure it will be. The orders from the coaches. Eddie Cole's got a free kick here. He can send the Tigers forward for the first time in quarter number 3. He does just that. Max College, Gardner, a couple of targets there. Spoiled away by Young. Chug. Dumped into the turf by Carter. Might go for a dangerous tackle, he will. Free kick to Declan Chug, an emerging star of this Bombers backline. He's a classy operator. He drives them out of defence here. Tompkinson playing in front. Got one in the back, I thought, not paid. Bales looks to take on Cole, crashed right through him. Lost his footing, then scooped the handball out to Pearce. He turns back onto the right, Reardon applying some pressure. Got his kick away. It was a good one. Found Hubbard in the middle of the ground. He wants to get them moving quickly. Had the overlap on in the form of Nicholas. That's where he heads. Nicholas steering it. It's an ugly looking kick. It's picked off by Blake McCulloch. He gets them moving quickly over the top to Soupy Campbell. Campbell now with an open forward line to drive on into. He sends it deep, trying to find Carter. We went flying, play on. Zeitzen gets a hand to it. Bennett battling away. Numbers favour the Bombers, but they can't take clean possession. Lurking Elijah Reardon. He picks it up, tries to duck underneath the Simpson tackle. And the umpire says, I'll have it. Bombers by 4 points. Early in the third term of this qualifying final, Lee and Gardner. Gardner at the second attempt. Eddie Cole emerging with the football. He snaps on goal and puts the Tigers ahead. Something from nothing for Eddie Cole. Clean roving there. And he snaps truly. And the Tigers back in front by 2. 3-5 plays, 3-3. And Eddie Cole gets his first of the afternoon. All individual goal kickers for the Tigers. Zeitzen, Carter and Cole for the Bombers. Sam Simpson has one. Bradley Cox Goodyear with 2. And that 3-5 to 3-3 scoreboard in favour of the Tigers. The wind has died down a little, but still very much a factor. Tigers probably needing to make their move here in the third quarter. Kicking goals to that far end. Not something you want to leave to the final term to try and chase down a margin. You'll need to build a lead here in the third term. Lee and Tompkinson. Tompkinson, Lee, and now off the ground goes Pearce. Umpire says kicking in danger. And the free kick to Lockie Clifford. And no Kieran Lovell. They'll be looking to Lockie Clifford to really step it up here. As he guides a kick towards Zeitzen. Turns onto his right, arches it back inside, looking for College. And Max College takes the tumbling mark. Though he will be on a severe angle. And the umpire takes him right around. So this will be a difficult kick. The wind, though, should work it back and start it at far behind post there. Bradley Cox Goodyear won the previous term. What can Max College do here? Difficult kick, goes with a drop punts. And he never gave up the goal, so tugs near side there. Had to start that one a little further across and bring it back. Hung it near post. 3 points to lead the Tigers. Young driving out of defence. It's a good kick, and he finds a marking target there. Actually be moved on. David was there, is now just inviting a little danger here. Balking one way was Lockie Mitchell. That was smooth. Then he found Harvey Griffiths with a strong pair of hands. Harvey Griffiths Sending it long towards Tompkinson, crashing in to intercept. The big fella. Moving large, chips wide for Clifford. Now retreating all the way back to Donnelly. Difficult day to execute the switch. They've done it pretty well here though. Worked it to Golding. Golding now heads down the line where Elijah Reardon had just worked hard to give him an option. Usually a good user by foot, Reardon. He's just going to go for distance here. He pumps it deep towards Carter. Juggling the mark, plays on and goes. Tyler Carter lifts the crowd and kicks his team 9 points clear. And boy, is he enjoying his work. Well, he's an entertainer, Tyler Carter. Juggle the mark. The Tigers rewarded there for some boldness, executed the switch. They tried that in quarter number one, coughed up a goal when they kind of butchered that switching kick. This time hit them a little better. They knew that they had the out, and Reardon just kept working down, gave them the option behind the contest. He doesn't waste too many kicks. Elijah Reardon got that one in deep to Carter's advantage. Whether he's paid the mark or not was irrelevant. He played on and gold. So his side lead by 9. One down by Lee. Clifford, handball over the top to Webb. Webb turning back inside with a left heel. Drive him inside 50. Carter again! Oh, Tyler Carter coming to life in this qualifying final. Gets the better of Bennett. And he'll go back and try and kick 2 in a minute.
You can't stop him!
You can't stop him, says the crowd. Well, he's certainly having a good few minutes, Tyler Carter. Big moment here for a game-high 15-point lead. He sends it on its way, Tyler Carter. He knew immediately it was good. And they're making a little break here, the Kingborough Tigers. 5-6-36, they lead by 15. The Bombers 3-3-21. It's the biggest lead of the day. Well, I said they had to make their move in this term with the wind, and they're doing just that. And they kick themselves into a comfortable lead to take into the final break. The Bombers certainly fancy themselves to win the final quarter. But the Tigers just starting to get a little run on here. They had the better of the second term, just it's so hard to find targets inside forward 50. This term, they're finding them. The Bombers need a response here. Tompkinson out of the middle, almost. Well, he just got boot to ball. Cole now trying to crash through. Somehow managed to get boot to ball. He works it inside 50. Bennett was there, took on College. Caught him, just got rid of it in time. Kicked up towards the 50 arc. Back into Zeitzen. Oh, it's deflected into the path of Zeitzen, who takes the mark. Oh, it's all coming up Tigers all of a sudden. And Zeitzen with a chance to kick his side 21 points clear. Certainly an element of fortune about this one. It just rather deflected off the leg of Eddie Cole. It's quite the healthy deflection. It worked for James Zeitzen. Here's the chance to join Tyler Carter. Multiple goals. It's Zeitzen. It's good. The Tigers out by 21 points. They've kicked 4 goals to none this quarter. And they're 6-6-42. They've doubled the Bombers' score, 3-3-21. They're blowing this game wide open. And it is the Bombers who need a response here. We saw 5 goals total for the entire first half. But the Tigers have kicked 4 in the opening 10 minutes of quarter number 3. Perhaps conditions just easing a little. The Tigers getting some reward on the scoreboard for their effort this term. They were very good in that previous quarter. Bombers needing to turn things around here. Ives into the ruck against Tompkinson, who wins it towards Reardon. Through the legs, Simpson battling away there, trying not to get into the back was Cole, but he ended up landing over the shoulder in the umpire's estimation. So the Bombers, this one drifting away, but they can just steady the ship and keep themselves within a few goals and certainly have a big advantage in the final quarter. Got to find a way to stem the bleeding though. Here's Ives. He sends it wide for Bennett. Fletcher Bennett ships it down the line. It's a poor kick. Slapped away though from McCulloch. Crashing through there, Leaf Lang. And Leaf Lang is caught holding the footy. McCulloch will take over it. The Tigers have seized control of this qualifying final. Long down the line. Numbers favour the Bombers. Juggling at Bennett. Play on. Chug over the top of it. Trying to crash through his Nicholas. He's going nowhere. Joey Brewer a hold of him. Ives swiped at it. Reardon tries to bust through. Tompkinson beaten by Ives. Simpson with a hand in. Smacked clear by Sam Simpson. He follows up, sends a kick wide. Good pair of hands by Cox Goodyear. He got them going in quarter number 2. They need their star forward to give them a lift here. In quarter number 3, he fires a dart there and finds a marking target in Sulzberger. He looks up. Forwards present their leads, went looking for Leary. Pitch just in front of him was good below his knees. Griffith's kick was charged down. Cleared out of there by Gadomski. Bounces towards Young. He just spiked it away. Theo Ives back onto his preferred left, but he showed too much of it to Webb. Webb intercepts and charges back the other way. He finds Carter inside 50, tries to shrug Bennett, does, gets around another, now has to give the handball, does so to Zeitzen, kept it moving to Williams, he'll snap on goal, it's another for the Tigers! Jake Williams has them 27 points clear. They're storming away with this qualifying final. It was just ball in motion there, just keep it moving forwards. And Williams applies the finishing touch. And with a 27-point break midway through the third quarter, they are looking very well poised in this match now, the Tigers. The Bombers badly needing a goal to stop the Avalanche. 5 straight this quarter. It's as many goals as we saw in total for both sides in the first half. As the sun has broken out at the Twins, so too have the Tigers. They're flying. Bombers in dire need of a goal, but it'll be the Tigers to take it out of the middle again. Crashing through, Sulzberger looks to win it back. Tompkinson, Reardon couldn't take it cleanly. Spilt the way of Pearce. Pearce retreats back to Hubbard. He tries to show some dash. Sends it wide to a contest, picked off though. Gadomski with a towering mark, and now he'll send the Tigers forward once more. Zeitzen in a one-on-one with Chug. Chug got hands to it. At ground level now, he fights away. Handball not quite coming out. They bore in, and the umpire calls for it. 27 points. They have made their move, the Tigers, the minor premiers. Looking to sew up a home final. Crashed out of there by Young, up towards Leary, but taking in front of him Gadomski. The Tigers go forward once more. Elijah Reardon takes the chest mark. A dangerous setup man is Reardon, or maybe he might go himself. He gives it a ride. It had the journey, if not the accuracy. 7-7 the Tigers, leading by 28. And the Bombers in bad need of a response. That's not going to help him. Pearce dropping an absolute soda. Coughed it up to Zeitzen. Zeitzen tumbling towards goal. They've got another. They are running riot at the Twin Ovals, the Kingborough Tigers. They've blown this game to pieces in the third term. 6 goals in 16 minutes, and they're out by 34 points. Well, they call it the Premiership Quarter, and they are playing like premiers right now, the Tigers. With it all to do, North Launceston. This has been a terrifying display, really, from the Tigers. The Bombers have just let the game get away from them, haven't been able to stall the momentum. They've been under siege. And the Tigers are soaring. 34 points now, their lead. Back to the middle. They're going to go forward again. Webb with the clearance. Got it to Clifford. Clifford sends it high up towards Williams. Leaflang took front position. Missed it though. Spilt the way of Gardner. Flicked back there towards Simpson. Young. Clearing kick is going to come right back at him because he's picked out Lockie Clifford. Clifford calls to steady, then realises he has a pretty good option on, so he heads there and Tyler Carter. Carter's going to wheel around and send them inside 50 once more. Williams, well done, Young got a hand in the way. They retreat back to Leaflang. Simpson on the last line of defence, just gets his kick away, skews towards the pocket. Golding was there, so too Godomski with a flying shot. He was off balance and it drifts out of bounds on the fall. They are just under siege, this Bombers defence. And it was 21-17 at half-time. 6-2-0 here in the third term. Imperious stuff, this from the Tigers. Bombers just need to find a way to kick a couple of late goals here. Harvey Griffiths trying to fool the umpire, but that had drifted out of play. Donnelly can take over. They need a circuit breaker. The Tigers just dialing up the pressure again through the hands of Tompkinson. Campbell claims Nicholas. Brings him down. It's been a statement quarter from the Tigers. Stamping their credentials here. Tompkinson dealt with by Lee, looks up wanting a free kick, none forthcoming. Nicholas looks to dash off half-back as he runs so far. The whistle's gone. I think there's something off the ball and Nicholas will get the free kick here, right. I had to guess I'd say Tompkinson had a little bit too much to say. He wasn't thrilled at that lack of a free. Man, Shandon will take over, defensive 50. His side in dire need of a goal, so he goes down the corridor. It's time for risk-taking. Williams claims Sulzberger. Brilliant tackle from behind and rewarded. He's had a good quarter, Jake Williams. He fires them forward once more. Tompkinson lurking, won't quite have the carry though. And drifting across, Avent took the mark, got him moving quickly inside to Bales. He's held up though. Sends it down the corridor and cuffs it straight up to Williams again. He sends it wide, Godomski. Godomski for Gardner. Just too far out ahead of the big fella, who's happy to walk it over. And as we tick towards red time, the Bombers need to make something happen late in quarter number 3. For there to be any chance in the final term. But it does appear the Tigers have blown an enormous hole open in this one, and they'll go forwards again. Almost College, had 2 to beat, nearly did so. Bales paddling in front, umpire's whistle gone. And again, Tompkinson penalised off the ball. Leaflang, well, the recipient, although Bales will take it here. So, they've got to get moving here. The Bombers yet to score in quarter number 3. But moving the ball into this win proving mighty difficult. And again, they've just coughed it up all too easily as Baker slides in to take that one ahead of Ahern. He is in a rush to get him forward. Not a great kick. Bales in front position. Spilt past him. Tompkinson tries to shrug off Nicholas. Got him. Play on the call. Looking for a little high contact and getting it is O'Neill. A little fortuitous. Fox Goodyear not thrilled, but O'Neill can go back. And he's indicating he fancies a shot. Could extend the lead to 40 points here. It has been blistering stuff from the Kingborough Tigers here in quarter number 3. George O'Neill. Could he extend the lead to 40 points here? He's just going to set it up instead to the top of the goal square. Spoiled away off hands. Campbell gets claimed there by Nicholas and Sulzberger. There's some late contact. Eddie Cole not happy with. And the blood rule. I'm surprised there's some claret there for Soupy Campbell. He was met firmly. Umpire tells them to clear out. 6-2 to nothing, the scoring in quarter number 3. It's been an absolute arm wrestle for 2 quarters. Not so here in the third. So, back underway. Tompkinson and Lee. Cole trying for the miraculous. Puts it out of bounds on the full, did he? No, he didn't reach his boot until he'd gone over the line. So it'll be tossed back in. A good result in the end for the Tigers. They can continue to turn the screws on this Bombers defence. Under the cush all this third term. It's been really strong stuff from the Tigers. Tompkinson takes front position, wins it down, gets his kick away. Tompkinson! Not quite. Lead 55 points. The Bombers in the left reeling. Here's Lockie Mitchell. His defensive 50, spoiled away from Hubbard. Baker, with his left boot to it. Bails over the top of it. Nicholas now handballs to the outside. Starting back in there was Mansell. Got his kick towards Leary, but the Tigers with the numbers. Baker just gets rid of it. Got it to Godomski. Godomski now happy to just shift across to Gardner. Gardner happy to retreat to Donnelly. He canters across the defensive 50 and then spies his man Murray Bastick in some space. The Tigers just happy to slow things down here. The game completely on their terms. Chip short for Zeitzen. The ball movement's been impressive in quarter number 3. Zeitzen, he finds Ambrose Brereton. Brereton now will send them inside 50 for College. Max College will go back. And he'll have an opportunity to extend the lead to 41 points. Even the Bombers have managed just 21 all day. Probably curtains, if it isn't already. They have blown the game wide open here, the Tigers. It's been a scintillating quarter of football. Can they find goal number 7? Max College, he'll send it on its way from 45. He does just that, Max College. Party time here at the Twin Ovals. The Tigers have put on one of their best quarters of the season. And boy, what a time to produce it. 7 goals to none. They lead this qualifying final by 41 points. Barring a remarkable turnaround in the last, I'd say the grand final is North Hobart bound. And a seriously impressive quarter of football this from Kingborough. A scrappy game up to this point. Suddenly, conditions have looked perfect for them. Lee slaps it down, but Eddie Cole sharks it. Handball back inside, but he turned it over to Avents. Avents' kick sent a little wider. Man Shandon forced onto his left. Baker corralling him. Goes back into the corridor, finds Hubbard. He sends it wide. Marking target in the form of Sam Simpson. Yet to score this quarter. North Launceston. It's all rather stagnant here for Simpson. Just went the short handball to Hubbard, who gets into trouble. Claiming him was O'Neill. Just released it in time. Bastick tries to crash past Simpson, who got him. Now spills the way of O'Neill. Sent to the deck by Simpson, but he got his kick up towards Tompkinson. He pitches and rolls out of play. So, In the elimination final at Launceston Arena, it's the Clarence Roos by 38 at three-quarter time. Let's say they're on their way through. So it looks like there'll be North Launceston v Clarence at UTAS next week. The Tigers awaiting them in the big dance. Unless the Northern Bombers can pull a rabbit out of the hat here. Simpson, claimed by Cole. Going nowhere. And a devastating burst. 7 goals, 3-0 score in this quarter from the Tigers. As them with a foot into the decider. Handball over the top there. Trying to make it work is Rickard, but just running out of real estate, puts it out of bounds on the full. The Tigers drive it inside once more. Can they find another marking target? It's spilt out the back. Under pressure there, it was Nicholas. And insufficient intent. Here's the call. Umpire said you had eyes only for the line. And Jake Williams, who's had an impactful quarter, has the chance for another goal here to do further damage in this third term. Could they find an 8th goal for the quarter? Oh, they can! Superb from Williams. Opens up the angle and snaps truly. It is party time at the Twin Ovals now. The party tricks are coming out. They're celebrating. They know they've got more than 1 foot into the grand final now. They are flying, the Kingborough Tigers. 8 goals, 3, 51 to no score in the third quarter. After it was 21-17 and an absolute arm wrestle at halftime. Did not see this one coming. I was expecting it to stay tight all afternoon long. Looked like one of those afternoons where 6 or 7 goals might be enough to win it. Well, conditions have improved a little here in quarter number 3. And boy, have the Tigers taken full advantage. And they have produced, given the circumstances, probably their best quarter of footy of the year. Gardner in the middle now. So they crack in. Simpson tries to shrug off Gardner. Needs to release this one. Dragged it back in. Umpire lenient. Says, I'll toss it up. Oh, Simpson. Eddie Cole looking to wind him up. Simpson, I want to watch the swinging arm there. They've got a couple of, they've got at least one more final to come next week. He'll get the clearance here though, but he skewed it off the side of the boot. Claimed and handballed over the top to Manshandon. Manshandon with some composure. Mark was dropped though. Tigers at the fall of the ball, coming through A-Vent. Gardner has a hold of him, worked it back to Lee. Lee gets his kick away, sends it inside the forward 50. Donnelly just couldn't quite judge the flight, took an awkward bounce. Ball back into dispute, Donnelly. Umpire's whistle's gone. Only trying to shrug a hern. And eventually the free kick is going to go the way of the Bombers after all that. So, and Shannon will take it. Sorry, Mansell, the recipient, and finally, in the 30th minute, 31st minute perhaps by the time he takes his kick, the Bombers might get a score on the board here in this term. We ticked past half an hour. Mansell trying to cut the margin back to 41. Gets the big Bronx cheer from the crowd. He hasn't made the journey. Elijah Reardon slides in and takes the relieving mark. And there is the siren for three-quarter time. What a quarter of football from the Tigers. They've blown this game wide open, and they've just about punched their ticket through to the grand final. As long as they don't implode in the last, they will be playing in 2 weeks' time at North Hobart Oval. The Bombers, well, they've kicked 21 points for the day. They need more than a rabbit out of the hat at this stage. They're going to need a 9-goal last quarter. They'll have the wind at their backs. I'm not sure the wind is that strong, but we'll be back in a few minutes' time with that final quarter for you. The Tigers, scintillating stuff from them in quarter number 3. And they have got 1.5 feet into the grand final. We'll be back with the final quarter for you in a few minutes' time. The Tigers, though, Kicked 8 goals to none that term. They lead 10-8-68. The Bombers 3-3-21. So back for the final quarter here at the Twin Ovals, and it is the North Launceston Bombers facing an absolute mountain if they're to work their way through to a home grand final. They're in arrears by 47 points after a blistering 8-0 third term from the Tigers. They'll have the wind at their backs, the Bombers, heading into this final term, but it's going to take something pretty miraculous from this point on. They've kicked 3 goals for the day. Going to need now to find at least 9 in the last. Barring an absolute capitulation from the Tigers, this game looks done. We'll see what the final quarter has in store for us. They've just got to throw the kitchen sink here. The Bombers hope they can get a couple of early goals, maybe invite some doubts, but they've pretty much got to play perfect footy. They're going to start taking risks. They've just got to move it quickly, get it forwards, and hope that the win factor prevents the Tigers from kind of being able to hurt them back the other way. They're going to have to risk conceding a few to score them. But the Tigers with 1 foot firmly in the grand final as we start the final term here at the Twin Ovals. Tompkinson down to Lee. Lee gets the clear and kick, but Bastic's there for the Tigers. Oh, good tackle laid by Rickard, stripped him of the footy. Tigers retreat back to McCulloch. McCulloch on the left, bends it around, trying to keep it in play. Pitches just inside. College gets a hand to it and sees it over the line. Lee gets the better of Tompkinson. Took an unkind bounce for Simpson though. Clifford up and under. Zeitzen approaches. Just pitched in front of him. Big effort in that third term, of course. Without Kieran Lovell, he is done for the day. Re-aggravating that injury. He kept him out the back part of the season. Could be a bit of a race against time for him to be fit for a grand final now. Tompkinson takes front position, hands it off to Clifford. Clifford sends them forward, spiked over the back of the pack. Nicholas first to it. He's gathered there by Jake Williams, but just slipped up over the shoulder. Young in the back pocket. Dennis combining with Young, then moves it quickly up the wing looking for Hubbard, but pitched just in front there. Worked off it by Eddie Cole, did superbly. Got it to Webb. Webb's handball inside to Lockie Clifford. Clifford looked up, stopped, propped, then steered it to Gardner. And big Marcus Gardner reels it in. And can drive another nail into the coffin here. It looks like the Northern Bombers' opponent next week is going to be the Clarence Roos. They're 44 points ahead of Launceston over at Blunston in the elimination final. So it looks like it'll be the Bombers and the Roos at UTAS next weekend. Weekend after that, the Tigers will await the victors at North Hobart as Gardner just sends it across the face for a behind. 10-9, 69 they move along to. They made their move in devastating third term. Young plays on quickly from fullback. Sends it wide. Hubbard comes in, spoiled away from him by Donnelly. Hubbard gathered, then tried to fend off a tackle. Eddie Cole crunching in. Tossed up, Tompkinson. It's hands down to Clifford. Clifford swings them into the Zeitzen direction. There's a wrestling match. Free kick going the way of the Bombers. Declan Shug. Head down the line. Tompkinson and Lee. Tompkinson took front position. Lee almost from behind. Tompkinson gathers, got it back to Reardon. Palmed off Leary, then had a bounce. And sends them inside the forward 50. Spoiled away by Young. Gathered by Bales. He's released there to Rickard. Back to Young. Trying to break some lines here, Connor Young. He does so. Now Theo Ives in a one-on-one with Donnelly. Donnelly spoiled from behind. Stuck to his task well. Some support in the form of Leary. Ives can't get boot to bowl, and now Clifford takes it away. Gave it to Tompkinson. He retreats back there to Bastic. Bastic steers it down the line. Having to sit under that one was Cole. He copped one round the ears for his troubles. He'll get the free kick. Will Eddie Cole. Dinks a short one for Gardner. And wanted the immediate give, won't get that though. Went around the outside, Marcus Gardner. Sending the Tigers inside the forward 50, spoiled decisively by Bennett. Now to play for a ball in. Ives and Gardner. Ives slaps it back centrally. Sulzberger was there, climbing on top Bales. Gardner rucks it down. Young, it's a clearing kick, that was charged down. Carter works his man underneath it. Simpson just gets boot to ball. Reardon trying to shrug the tackle of Sulzberger. Couldn't do so. Strong tackle from Sulzberger sticking. Carter now doing the ruck work against Ives. Climbs on top of it. Ives on top of him. Carter protecting the space, gets a boot to ball, worked it to the squares. Zeitzen, College, all hands on deck at the back for the Bombers, and they'll take it away through Chug. Fired out a handball to Simpson. Simpson clearing kick up there towards Mansell. Had Hubbard as well through his hands, and now Baker for the Tigers on his left. Works it around the corner. Strong relieving mark taken by Fletcher Bennett. Bennett for Griffiths. Oh, drops one he should have had. Invites a bit of danger. Numbers there with the Tigers. Griffiths kept charging on through, but eventually O'Neill took it away before he was walked across the line. Tompkinson out of the ruck. He's kicked straight up. Won't be 15. Ives climbs in. Ruck's too busy bodying up to go for the ball. Avent, handball to Manshandon. Back to Avent. Stands one up and he finds Sulzberger. Sulzberger into the corridor for Simpson. So Simpson just missing Manshandon with a kick straight to McCulloch, and that rather sums up the second half for the Bombers. Has not been their day. Exceeded expectations. Reardon gets up, takes a great mark and plays on and fires it into the pocket. Almost found Zeitzen. Punched away from him. Bennett sticking to his task, and eventually the boundary line wins out. Tompkinson opposed to Ives over the back for Manshandon. Treats Nicholas. Sends it wide, pitches awkwardly. It was well gathered by Chug in the end, and he works it to Leaflang. Side of the boot a little. It bends back and stays in. Will Clifford just overrunning it. Pearce applying the pressure, and he takes Golding across the line. Back into Gardner, a bit shallow on the throw. They'll go once again. go once more. Ives leaps to the front this time. Won it down, but Gardner got it back to Clifford. Clifford with a handball inside. Finds Clifford of the Will variety. He sends it up towards Zeitzen. Fisted away. Chug. Sulzberger just slaps it on the boot and gets some distance. It carries all the way to Ives. He takes the chest mark ahead of Donnelly. Can go back for, remarkably, will be the Bombers' first score in this half of football. Now 3-3-21. Half-time break. Since then, it's been all one-way traffic. And Ives get them on the board in the second half. He sends it on its way. It's pretty good off the boot. Theo Ives gets a goal for the Bombers. A little late with 10 minutes gone in the final term. The result beyond doubt at this point, but they get themselves on the board into the second half. In a very long time coming, that one. First score since the 18-minute mark of the second quarter. Bradley Cox Goodyear put through his second goal. Pretty side ahead that by 4 points. Since then, and all Tigers, Avent gets the handball away. Man Shandon turned it over, coughed it up. Great tackle there laid by Leary and will be rewarded. Catching Joey Bright. Leary chips it. Oh, awkward one for Leaflang. Brewer tries to bust through Leary. Fight out a handball. Man Shandon flew in over the top. Umpire's going to give a free kick. It's Tyler Carter on the bottom of that. It's George O'Neill, in fact. Cody fancies himself. No one's got near carrying the journey from 50 metres up this end of the ground today. Certainly does seem to have died off a little, but to be proof it really has if you could look this one through O'Neill. He bends it back on the wind. Was it got the journey not quite in the goal square, off hands and through for a minor score. Still very much prevalent out there at the wins as Young from full-back fires it out to Leary. Leary to Mansell. Mansell tried to keep it low and did so well. Worked it there for Sam Simpson. He went into Simpson. Sulzberger, sorry. Now into the middle for Leaflang. Had to work and then held onto there by O'Neill. Leaflang sends it wide for Mansell once more. In some room to manoeuvre here, Oscar Mansell will draw Cole to him, then just skip past him, then lost a hold of the football. Then got taken high by College. Not paid. Has to be holding the ball then. A little unfortunate there, I reckon. Got one a bit high. Oscar Mansell. Once that wasn't paid, he was dead to rights. So College on the half-back line. Sends it up towards the pack, spiked away by Bennett. Carter diving after it. Cracking through was O'Neill. Eventually the umpire will call for it. Gardner racks it down. In going nowhere as Avent lays the tackle. Ives leaping into Gardner. Leary hands to it. Extracts the handball to Avent. Umpire's whistle goes. Advantage paid as they look to charge on forward here. But Baker with a great tackle on Hubbard. He's going nowhere. Got him holding the footy. The returning Nicholas Baker. I'm glad to have him back in the mix for the finals. As Rickard tried to crash through him. Baker, not much distance on the kick. Carter read it. The fist came from Bennett. Spilt the way of Rickard. Rickard back to Bennett. Bennett for Harvey Griffiths. A couple to contend with. Tried to reel it in. Controls it from the pocket. Harvey Griffiths, a tumbling effort for a miraculous goal. Harvey Griffiths. Well, it won't be the Bombers' day, but there's a highlight for Harvey Griffiths. A fantastic dribbled goal from the impossible angle. Not impossible for Harvey Griffiths, who worked it back beautifully. The Bombers get their second of the final term. A piece of skill there for a player who's had a fantastic season for the Bombers, Harvey Griffiths. 30 goals, half forward. He's been a great contributor, good in the air. And a tough day for the forwards, though. The Bombers just haven't had the service this afternoon. Hasn't got in there enough for them, really. And back to the middle we go. Tompkinson back in there, spilt for Sulzberger. Clifford has a hold of him. All right, up again. Tompkinson won it down to Sulzberger, and again Clifford wraps him up. Tompkinson gets better of Ives, who left a little early again. Straight to a midfielder who's immediately wrapped up, though. Repeat stoppages were very much the order of the day in that second quarter in particular. The Tigers really broke things open. Stoppage heavy first half. Tompkinson wins it down. Sulzberger gets his kick around the corner. Diving in, not paid the mark though. Oscar Mansell diving in. Ives again with the early leap. Tompkinson plants himself, palms it down. Griffiths bustling towards the boundary. Will Clifford. Now Mansell fed it out to Rickard. Rickard claimed in a good tackle by Murray Bastick. Umpire says, I'll have it. Gardner, Clifford. By the handball to Cole. Cole around the outside. Golding, now O'Neill. His kick chopped off. Going back in Carter. On a little high. Not in the umpire's estimation. They're ticking towards red time in the qualifying final. Big win here for the Tigers today. They will host the grand final in a fortnight's time at North Hobart. Bombers clash with Clarence Awakes. Might be another derby next week. Who's handling the Blues over at Launceston? Leary weaving away. Sends them towards a Ahern. Landed into the path of Griffiths. Griffiths to the square and dropping it through was Sam Simpson. He's frustrated with himself there. He probably should have had that. Right towards Gardner. Off his hands, whistle blows. Push has been paid the way of Big Gardner. Lofts it over the top. Finds McCulloch. He too goes short to Lockie Clifford. Tigers happy just to run a little clock here. Take some seconds. They're almost at the finish line. They nearly breathe a grand final appearance. Maybe theirs again. This one's driven up towards the half-forward line. Strong pair of hands. Zeitzen did enough, says the ump. Big wins for both Southern-based teams as Zeitzen sends them into the pocket. Tompkinson was there, so too College. Leaflang handballed out. Shug was good under pressure. Got it to Nicholas. Nicholas's kick was Josh Rickard. He chips it straight down the throat of Blake McCulloch. McCulloch fires it wide. His kick, kicking it right back to the opposition. No one able to keep hold of the footy at the moment. The Bombers nearly gift it right on back. Fortunately for them, spilt clear for them. Nicholas charging forward. Reardon impacts the kick. Baker interjects. Now an opportunity for Simpson on the run. Flying shot has got Ben Donnelly parked back on the last line to chop it off. And he's kicked straight down the throat of Leary. Well, a sloppy final few moments here as Leary plays on. Wheels out to his right and sends it on its way. It drifts across and misses. Donnelly. It's all finished at Launceston 79-17. Clarence, are they perhaps coming good at the right time of the season? Huge win there over the Blues. Big win over the Tigers in the final round of the season. Won't be an easy game for North Launceston next week as Baker intercepts. It was touched off the boot, so has to play on. Got it to Cole. Cole chips it over the top to College. The Northern Bombers, they've been a strong team all season. They've been blown away in the third quarter today. Been off their best this afternoon, but expect them to bounce back with a good performance at home next week. They'll still be favourites to get past Clarence and set up a rematch in a fortnight's time, but it'll certainly be an interesting preliminary final next weekend, as this one's driven deep over the head of Ahern. Ives. Bastic happy to find the safety of the line. Back in, Gardner. Williams, fine afternoon, fired the handball over the top. Eddie Cull receives it back, tries to take on a couple, and did so successfully. Eddie Cull, no centre of gravity, just pivots and changes direction so sharply, so hard to bring down. Here he is again, Eddie Cull, on the left. Kick, a poor one though, straight to Ben Simpson. Outstanding season. The Bombers' engine room, one of the premier midfielders in the comp, Ben Simpson. Nicholas. Now Young, in some room to manoeuvre here. Sends in the Ives direction, spiked away from him. Godomski. It's caught a hold of by Mansell. As it threatens to kick off again. Griffiths, Donnelly, Ahern. Nothing silly, boys. Nothing to be gained from any of that at this point. You grab yourself out of the final. Baker paddling it towards the line. And Shandon trying for the spectacular. Puts it out of bounds on the full. A clear defensive 50 towards Gardner. Tried to juggle the mark, not quite. Simpson, Sulzberger slung off his kick. Smashed out of there by Gardner. Up and under from Sulzberger. Not 15, so Williams has to dash. He does so. Up towards the wing. Spoil came from behind. Lee Flang centrally looking for Simpson, but was broken up there by Golding. Now Reardon. Finds Tompkinson. He's content to take his time. It's job done for the Tigers. Setting this win up with a blistering third quarter. Long they go off the hands of Lee Flang. And over the line by O'Neill. Tossed back in. Dying embers of this one. Tompkinson took it out of the ruck, fired out a handball. Straight though to Nicholas. Young trying to bring down Cole. Got his handball to Clifford. Clifford worked it across to O'Neill. He snapped to the square. Can College get there? Not quite. Off hands for a behind. 10-11 plays 5-4. Two goals to none in the final term for the Bombers, but they were so far behind. Golding, Brewer, driven into the ground. That's a great tackle from Chug. And rewarded. And Declan Chug sweeps the handball to Rickard. Rickard to Manshandon. He finds Mansell. Mansell fired it wide, and now they'll look to go inside forward 50. Leary was met immediately, just dropped it. Back the other way comes Eddie Cole. And there's the final siren on a big victory for the Kingborough Tigers. 37-point victors over the Northern Bombers. It was an arm wrestle in the first half. They trailed 21-17 at the half-time break. It was looking like it was going to be a real tight battle all afternoon. Then came that third quarter. They call it the Premiership quarter. And boy, did the Tigers play like premiers in that term. Kicked 8-3-0. Blew the game wide open. Couple of goals in the final term for the Northern Bombers, but they needed 9 of them. The job was done. So much of the afternoon scoring was so hard, but for a 20-minute period in the third, the Tigers made it look easy, and they get the big win. So they will move on to the grand final. The first time in a while, it's going to be a southern-based grand final, breaking up this kind of decade of dominance from the Northern Powers. Might still have a Launceston team in the decider, though. Don't rule out North Launceston. They'll be back on their home deck next week and fancying themselves to get a win and have another crack at the Tigers in a grand final at North Hobart. To do that, they'll need to get past Clarence, who took care of Launceston in the elimination final over at Blunston. A thumping win there for the Roos. They're coming good at the right time of year. That should be an interesting preliminary final next week at UTAS. Until then, though, from Andrew calling the action for you at the Twin Ovals. It's been a day where the Tigers have flexed their premiership muscle. They've booked a home final. They'll be back in 2 weeks' time as the red-hot favourites to take out the premiership. An impressive performance today. A blistering third quarter. And they are moving on in September. For the Bombers, well, a long way round for them. A date at UTAS with Clarence awaits next weekend. Looking forward to that one. But from myself, Andrew calling, it's bye for now. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage. Until next week on the TSL live stream. It'll be the Bombers and the Roos for a place in the grand final where this Kingborough Tigers side awaits. What a performance from them. It's bye for now.